Welcome to New Broker, the podcast dedicated to providing insights and inspiration for building a new broking business.
Hello and welcome back to New Broker. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane, and this week we're talking to a Queensland-based broker in the form of James Allen from Coastal Financial Consultants, as we're unpacking his journey into broking, what he's seeing on the ground, his top bugbears and opportunities in broking, and how he intends to grow his business. Now, James, if you haven't met him, is a relatively new broker. I actually met him at the New Broker Academy this year up in Queensland when we were up there for the Brisbane show. And so had a great chat with James and thought, who better to bring onto the podcast to chat about his journey and talk about what it's like being a new broker than him. So thank you for joining me, James, and making the trip down to Sydney to join us. How are you going?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and sharing your story. And I always think it's really fun when we get to talk to new brokers who are coming from out of industry. And I was looking at your LinkedIn profile before we came online because I was a bit like, I wonder what his journey actually was. And when we were talking about it in Brisbane, you were kind of saying you've kind of done a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But you actually studied finance and business management in uni.
Correct.
But then took a while before becoming a broker. So walk me through how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So 3 years into my degree, I was like, I want to go out, get some real world experience. And then I started in insurance broking. And I really enjoyed that. I learned the fundamentals of broking, so good communication, stakeholder management, learning how to pick up the phone when it rings, all the good stuff. the essentials. A lot of people struggle with that these days. And so I got into insurance broking and I learned a lot over the 3 years that I did that. I worked my way up to an executive level. And that was fantastic. And then I ended up pivoting. So that was in Brisbane. And then I ended up pivoting to being a disability support worker, actually, when I moved down to the Gold Coast. Decided I want a total change of pace and I want to do something more meaningful with my life than just getting, commission checks and all the rest of it.
Insurance is pretty good though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's surprising that I got out, actually. A lot of people, it's like a bit of a black hole. Once you get into insurance, you don't usually leave. So I'm one of the unicorns who actually got out of the insurance game. And so I started as a disability support worker, worked my way through. I did that for 6 years. I was in the healthcare space. So support worker for say 2 or 3 years. And then I went into management. And then I went on to a larger organization and I was managing operations Australia-wide. I had 300 support workers working for me doing a whole bunch of fun stuff at an executive level as well. And then I decided to go into mortgage broking, which is totally left of field.
Yeah.
So I met Liz. In that 6-year period, I met a lady by the name of Liz. Now, Liz had also had previous experience in mortgage broking, and we got along really, really well. And she was like, I think we would make a really good team. And so I was like, okay, let's try it. Let's have a go. Let's have a crack. We'll start it up in the background and see what happens. And so we started up Coastal Financial Consultants, and before long it started to, get traction and things. And obviously with new businesses, you have to pour a certain amount of time and energy into them as well. So I got to the point where I ended up taking the leap of faith and quitting my big boy job and going full out onto the mortgage broking scene.
So how did you meet Liz?
So Liz was actually my boss at the time, and we worked together for about 5 years. So
that was a good vibes.
Yes,
yeah.
And we got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, of each other, and see our true character. And I knew that she was somebody that I could trust to do business with. Yeah.
And so why did you decide on mortgage broking? Like, did she go, I used to do this and I want to go back into it, come with me? Or
Correct.
Did you go, I'm interested in mortgage broking?
Yeah, it was pretty much the first version. So yeah, she's really passionate about numbers. I love numbers. I'm really good with the numbers, that sort of stuff. And she's like, I think we could make a really good little business here. The NDIS space as well is, as anyone in the industry would know, is becoming more increasingly difficult and is also, becoming more toxic and all the rest of it. So, transition out, a bit of a change of pace and it's so refreshing. Getting into this industry, the people have been nothing but fantastic and just absolutely lovely to deal with. Obviously, there's competition and all the rest, healthy competition, which I actually find quite fun.
Yeah.
Actually like the element of competition, but I don't see too much gossip or all the rest of it.
Oh, there's plenty of gossip. So you
good.
started Coastal Financial Solutions, Consultants last year in 2025.
Yes.
So you've kind of gone past the 12-month mark now,
Yes.
and you're in the second year, which is exciting. Congratulations to both you and Liz.
Yeah.
Walk me through how you decided to set up, the structure. So how did you look at maybe we're going to join a franchise? Did you know you wanted to build your own business? How did you choose the business structure you ended up with?
Yeah, so it's a company structure. Me and Liz are both 50-50 in the business, which I think that was one of the biggest incentives for me to join Coastal, to start Coastal, because I think a lot of new brokers will get a mentor and they take a large cut, and, it's sort of not a fair arrangement. But because me and Liz had worked together for so many years, she's like, I'll go your halves in the company. I won't charge you for mentoring. We can just kick it off straight away. And I was like, wow, that's actually a really good deal, I think, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, that's how we structured it. And I think the franchise models, are a great option for people, but because of the fact that Liz had so much experience in business as well, so she's run companies all through New Zealand and all that sort of stuff as well, I had the confidence knowing that she knew how to fundamentally run a company. And I think if it was sort of me and one of my buddies from school or something, then I might have been more leaning towards joining a franchise model. But it was pretty bold going out, a couple of bold choices there, but it was good.
Well, this is Liz Andrew we're talking about,
yes.
who was a broker, as you said before. So she already had that experience. And it's always, I think, really interesting when we see new brokers come into market and how they go about learning the ropes, because of course there's so much to learn. Not only, if you've never run your own business before, about being a small business owner, but of course about broking, the credit policy, the best interest duty, the compliance, all of that stuff that goes along with it. So it's great to have someone alongside you that has already walked the walk and talked the talk that you can kind of absorb from.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at aggregator, did you kind of shop around for the aggregation partners? Did you just go with whatever Liz had previously used before? How did you choose your aggregator?
Yeah, it was a pretty straightforward process. Liz just said, we're using AFG, and that was the end of that. I said, sounds good.
So you became a broker last year, started Coastal Financial Consultants. Why consultants? I'm curious what that element of the broking does.
I am too. So Liz is a wordsmith. So it actually took us 3 months to come up with that name. So I don't care about names. I think they're totally irrelevant. I think that the service that you provide and the people who you are is what's important. I think the name is just what's on the door. Do you know? It doesn't have an effect for me at all, but everyone's different, obviously. And so, Liz was like, yep, let's do Coastal Financial Consultants. I'm like, that is really long. And I was like, but if you're happy, I'm happy, let's do it. And it's I've shortened it to CFC in a lot of places.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So honestly, the future goal, I think, would be to have a financial planning branch, accounting, a full advisory suite.
Yeah.
So I think it does also future-proof the business as well. So I'm sticking with it for now.
So you, as I said, sort of, took about 10 years to come to broking.
Yes.
After having done, kind of the basics of getting all your accreditations done and everything like that, the biggest first challenge is, where am I going to get business from? So how did you get your first clients? Where did you find them from?
So because I was managing properties through SEQ, disability houses and things like that, SIL homes, SDA homes, all that sort of stuff, I actually had a lot of partnerships with real estate agents who I would call and say, hey, we have a hospital discharge. I need a rental tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I actually had a lot of property partners, real estate agents who I'd work with in that professional capacity for years anyway. So I had some really good long-standing relationships that I could lean on when I came out. And I did a reflection after about a year or so, and I was like, 80% of my referrals are coming from these real estate agents. I should probably focus on that, focus on real estate agents in general. So now I've made a bit of a pivot where are more intentional with real estate agents. I think you have the market, which is 100% of people, right? People buying and selling is only 5% of that market, right? So I thought to myself, I shouldn't target that 5%. I should be in this 90% where it's nice and broad and I can, work with people and then when they're ready to buy it. But I've sort of found myself in the 5%, which is highly competitive and yeah, it's fun. I like it.
And do you still do a lot of work with people, for example, who might have NDIS or kind of requiring that sort of extra sort of special like aged care, for example? Do you still do a lot of that kind of work or is it mostly targeted at first home buyers? Like who's your bread and butter client?
Yeah, bread and butter client would be, first home buyers and also investors. So I love property investment, all that sort of stuff as well. I'm really passionate about it personally. So I seem to gravitate towards people with, little portfolios looking to expand and things like that as well. So, first home buyers, I really do like first home buyers though. It's funny because a lot of brokers may say, oh, they ask too many questions and they're really needy and all the rest of it. But I love the education piece. So I find personally that the schooling education system didn't teach us much about finances and property and all the rest of it. So I really enjoy, I think my unique selling proposition is that I educate the clients. I love all the stupid questions. I love the hand holding. And it's also really exciting as well, the novelty. Like they're so excited. It's really cute. Like they're like, oh, they're like asking me all these questions. And like, what was one I had the other day? It was like, got them unconditionally approved, until settlement. They're like, all right, cool. Let's get stuck into all the paperwork and stuff. And I'm like,
done.
Yeah. I'm like, that's it. Like, we're good. You're good. Just chill out. Let's just wait for settlement, and stuff like that. So, it's cool.
Yeah. And it is funny. Like, I do think it must be so rewarding having a first home buyer client, particularly when you get till settlement day, they finally get to buy their house. Yeah. You've been with them through that whole process, as you say, like educating them, hand holding, going through the whole thing, being like, here's what to expect next. It must be lovely to then get them into the house of their dreams and onto the property ladder for the first time.
100%. Yeah. It may not be the house of their dreams.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, their first house.
Especially here in Sydney. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of the first home buyer
house of my dreams is the garage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, getting them into the market is really exciting because then they can ride the wave and, we can get them started on their investing journey, hopefully.
So can you remember the first loan that settled? Like, who was it?
So I can actually. I was thinking about that on the way here. It was an $18,000 personal loan.
Okay.
Yeah. So funny. That was the first loan I ever wrote. I was like, did not expect it. But one of my friends called me and needed some money for some stuff. And I was like, I can do that, I suppose. And did the personal loan. So yeah.
It's interesting. I have very rarely heard people say that.
Yeah.
Normally it is someone's mate who needs a house.
Yeah.
Normally it's a mortgage. And I think doing personal loans and asset finance are increasingly, I think, for new brokers becoming more and more attractive because the turnaround is much faster. Yeah. The settlement period is obviously a lot shorter. You're kind of going from application to money in the bank within probably, in some cases, 24, 48 hours. So
100%.
You get paid earlier too.
Yeah.
Which is great when you're just starting out and you've got zero income. Were you prepared for that? Like, were you waiting? Had you banked like 6 months of income to be like, I know it's going to take me ages to settle, even though obviously if you wrote personal loan, probably was a bit faster?
Yes. I was prepared. I think the reality of it is it's like sitting through the uncomfort of seeing, seeing your bank balance go down week on week.
Just all your expenses.
Yeah. It was a journey. And I think we'll get to that later in the segment. Around the challenges of that. And, but yes, I was prepared. Definitely don't do it unprepared. Save up a good kitty because it takes longer than you think.
Yeah. To give us an idea of what your first 12 months looked like, can I ask how many loans you settled in that year?
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest. I don't actually know.
Do you know any volumes or FY26?
For the whole 12 months, for just myself or the business?
Just for you.
Not much. It was only like 10 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you spread that through because you mentioned your first loan being a personal loan. So did you spread that through both personal loans and mortgages? Was it mostly mortgages?
Mostly mortgages. Yeah. I've only done, so the first 12 months it was, a couple of personal loans and a couple of vehicles and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. Yeah.
And then as you kind of look to build, I mean, are you kind of now being like, well, for my next 12 months, I want to do this much volume? Or are you kind of being like,
yes,
I'm just happy doing whatever
happens
away?
I think writing one loan a week is a really sustainable target. Obviously at the event where we met, it was, they said a lot of brokers quit in the first 2 years because of their expectations. And they showed the graph of brokers' settlement volumes up to the 2-year mark was pretty nominal. And then you get to that 2-year mark and things really start to take off. So yeah, it is really, you got to set your expectations, I think, for sure.
Yeah. And I think this is it again, like why we love having the New Broker podcast, because of course we also have the Elite Broker podcast. But for some people, it can be a little bit disheartening because if you've just started, you're like, they're writing massive volumes. Yeah. How am I ever going to get there? And it's like, well, they've been around for like 10 years. Yeah. Like you will get there eventually. It just takes a bit of time.
It's really hard. Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to hear stories from people who are still on the beginning of their journey about how they're doing it. So,
yeah.
And when you come to like looking actually then about building your business, we're going to talk about how you kind of set up those referral partnerships. You mentioned about being intentional real estate agents. I'd like to talk about that a little bit later. But before I do, I'm always curious to kind of be like, well, did you come into broking thinking I'm going to be doing this, like first time buyers and investors in your case? Or did you kind of just go, I'm going to start and then I'll niche down later?
Yeah, obviously I've had my own property journey personally. So I kind of knew, and I've done a lot of research on property investing and stuff like that. So I knew what I was walking into, and I think I just started, I'm old school. So I just started like walking into businesses. Like I walked into this accounting firm and it was a lot bigger on the inside than I anticipated. Kind of scared me, right? I walked in, I was like, I'll go check these guys out. Walk in and there's like 3 ladies on the front desk. It's like this huge office. And I was like, far out.
Was it like KPMG or something like that? Like a massive consulting firm?
Pretty much. And then I said to them, I was like, oh, do you guys refer, if someone's looking for a mortgage broker, do you have someone you refer to like regularly? And they sort of all looked at each other and they're like, oh, not really. And I was like, oh, amazing. Well, here I am. Like,
ta-da.
Yeah. And they had a really good laugh and put me in touch with the principal of the accountancy firm, and took me for coffee, and we have a partnership now. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's brave. Just walking in.
It is very brave, and it's not common, like a lot of people will pick up the phone and ring around, do cold calling, and I respect that. I love cold calling, but I think, in today's day and age, old school is making a comeback. I love face-to-face stuff and just, being like, hey, I'm just down the road. If you ever need me, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm doing it in my local area. And seems to be producing some really good results. And then other, I've got property investment firms. So Mercer and Cooper, they're just down the road as well. I went to like a seminar of theirs, and then, you get a referral partnership agreement done up and formalize it and make it nice. It's good.
Awesome. Well, let's go into how you do all that and how you actually get a loan written from day one to settlement day. And we'll get into that just after this message. So we were talking there, James, about your referral partnerships, and you mentioned about, kind of the being brave and walking into the accountancy firms and also having, intentional relationships with real estate agents. So walk me through, who are your referral partners? Do you have multiple accountants, real estate agents, financial planners? Have you got one of each? Like, what does your referral kind of lead generation sources, I suppose, look like?
Yeah, I think it comes down to geography. So I like to have one of each in any particular region. So obviously we're in the Gold Coast. So I like to have a really good accountant I can trust, a really good buyer's agent, real estate agent, all of that sort of stuff. And then I try and find that for each particular suburb. So like even down here in Sydney, find a good buyer's agent, find a good accountant, find a good lawyer, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I do deal with multiple different organizations and have many partnerships, but it's all dependent on geography because I am a little bit more old school as well. It's like I like that face-to-face. I think my clients should also have that same opportunity as well. If they're wanting to buy in Western Australia, they don't have to, and I have a client in Western Australia, they don't have to call a solicitor in the Gold Coast and, do it long distance.
Deal with the time difference.
Yeah. Deal with the time difference as well. Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned about having a client in WA. So I'm assuming that then you kind of service all over. How do you target people in other states, or is it just sort of by organic referrals that you ended up with someone over there?
Yeah, organic. So obviously when you run your Facebook meta campaigns, you could set your geography. I cast the net pretty wide and have clients all over Australia. Yeah, I've got one a couple in Northern Territory as well. Darwin, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Cool. So you and Liz are now broking together at Coastal Financial Consultants. So is that just the two of you in the team? Is there anyone else?
So it's a three of us. So Liz, Lexi and myself. And then we're looking to bring on our first offshore worker next week, which is really exciting. So she has over 10 years of experience working in Australian banks. And so looking to take her on next week. So it'll be 4 soon.
So when it comes to then, I guess, structuring the team, it sounds like, do you and Liz have your own clients, or do you kind of work on any of her files? Does she work on any of yours?
It depends on the file. So Liz specializes more due to her accounting experience in the commercial space. Obviously, I can also do commercial as well. I'm writing my first SMSF commercial deal this week, which is really exciting. So yeah, thank you. It's the compliance is crazy. But so I think if I am talking to a particular client and they have very complex business structures or anything that's a little bit spicy in terms of accounting, I'll send it to Liz, and then Liz can effectively take over and make sure that we're covering off and maximizing their borrowing capacity and all that sort of stuff, using add backs and all the rest of it. She specializes more in the commercial space, but we're pretty relaxed. If it's, if I'm loaded and I need some service done fast, I'll send it over to Liz and then she can get it done really fast for me. So
what does Lexi do?
So Lexi's doing a lot of the loan processing and asset space as well. So she's doing a lot of the cars and all the rest of it. And then you've also got the offshore who will be doing, just loan processing as well. So it's good.
How have you gone about finding someone to do that? Because the reason why I ask this question is a lot of brokers will come up to us, for example, at the New Broker Academy and being like, I haven't yet hired. I'm thinking about doing it. Everyone says hire before you need to. I've got some time and capacity to be able to train up. I don't know whether I should go onshore or offshore. What are the pros and cons? And I'm always like, I have never hired somebody for a broking company, so you should probably go and talk to somebody who has. But also, we do know the right people to put you in contact with. So, often we'll have offshore providers there talking about it, or people who do support staff. How did you find your offshore person, and what would you recommend other people do if they're looking at doing the same thing?
Yeah. So in my previous role in healthcare, actually managed a team of about 15 offshore, and I learnt all the do's and don'ts and what works, what doesn't work. So that was a really good experience for me. And then I had an executive assistant and I became really close with her. She was just amazing. We worked together really closely every single day, 16 hours a day, right? So I actually reached out to her and I said, hey, I'm looking for a loan processor. Who can you recommend? Because I had a few companies reach out to me and because it's a different industry, right? So I was like, okay, cool. I'll go with a whole different company, this, that, and the other. But the contracts and the agreements and things that they sent through to me, there was a lot of holes. And so I wasn't comfortable. I did my due diligence. Small operators that have only been operating, 6 months and, high risk. I deemed them high risk. And so what I did was I reached out to her. I said, hey, Judy, what's going on? Do you know anybody that you can put me in touch with? She said, yeah, Office Angels. I think they're actually based here in Sydney. That's who we've gone through. And they've sent through, Aria, who's coming on board next week with, over 10 years experience. She worked for Brighton and a few other banks as well. So she's, I'm really confident using them.
And will she be full-time for you or just kind of doing a per file basis?
Yeah, part-time to start with. And then, if we like her, then we'll go through to the full-time. We can ramp it up and obviously it's demand dependent as well.
Yeah. So at the moment, let's say someone comes to you, how do you have an office? Like, how are they engaging with you? Because you said you like the face-to-face element. So I'm assuming, like, is there an office? Are you going to them? Like, how do you
To be honest, it's mainly cafe interactions, or I'm going to their business organization, their place. I find the cafe environment, I love coffee as well, but I think the cafe environment is just so much more relaxing. It's a public setting. People are more comfortable. Obviously, if you're trying to talk confidential and all that sort of stuff as well, we'll go, to the office space. But for the most part, it's all on the road or online. A lot of it is online as well. So, Teams and all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah. So do you find that most people kind of will want to meet up for a coffee, let's say for the first meeting, but then when it comes to actually going through like needs analysis or actually getting their pay slips out, they're coming to a specific office that you have, or is it you're hiring a sort of WeWork space?
It's all just online. Yeah, it's really just send, they just upload everything through Finance Vault, and I have done a couple of home visits as well. Yeah, for particular clients who are struggling with stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at the moment. I find it's the most effective. The head office is technically Liz's house. She has a big house on the water.
Lovely.
And that's our office, But we, in the space that we're in and the age that we're in, we don't really need a big office space. Towards the end of the year, we will get one. Just rent one out, I think, and see how it goes.
Fun.
Yeah.
Why decide to do that?
Psychologically, it changes your perception, I think. Yeah. So I was talking to a really successful real estate agent, and he was saying to me on the weekend, he said that there was like 2 or 3 of them. They got an office and they went to like 12 within a very short space of time. So I think it's just conducive to growth and just that mindset. It's like buying a nice car. It's a totally stupid idea on paper, financial suicide. Do you know what I mean? But the people that you can meet and the experience and the, I don't know, the psychology behind it, there must be some sort of quantum mechanics there that I'm not smart enough to figure out. But I think there's something to it.
Status symbols.
Yeah.
When you come to then actually doing the kind of the broking at actual processing side of things, getting the loan done, you've mentioned a few of the things that you use already, the tools, for example, Google Meet to engage with people, and you mentioned Finance Vault there as well for the financials. What other tools and tech do you use to make your life easier?
Yeah, for sure. So Quickly is good, obviously. So the CRM that we have within AFG is Broker Engine Plus. So I have the top of the line system there. They do have Flex, but they're phasing that out now. So Broker Engine Plus with Quickly, and then I'm using Claude for a lot of stuff as well, which is really beneficial, but obviously you have to be careful with that as well. And then, your standard Cash Deck, Ilion, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you using Claude for?
A lot of it is mainly just recording conversations. So client conversations. Then what it'll do, it does a split. So it'll file the transcript of all my conversations, whether it be like a Teams or a phone conversation. So it files that in the client's file, so that if they ever come back to me and then, I didn't say that, it's like, well, here's a transcript on this particular day at this exact time. So that's really helpful. And then the second portion of that is it analyzes my phone calls for, say, trust building and all those. I've got a couple of key metrics there, and it generates me a monthly report.
Wow.
And tells me how I'm doing for the month.
How do you record your phone calls?
Through the VoIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then also, Claude, there's heaps of fun projects that you can do on Claude, but it generates me a lot of my companies to talk to as well. So I'll put in what I'm trying to achieve, who I want to talk to, and then it'll generate me a list of businesses within my geographical location, and then be like, go visit these businesses today and talk to them, do the old walk-ins.
Yeah. So it does some of your market research for you.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm assuming this is some sort of closed environment of Claude, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So turning off all the memory and all that sort of stuff. It is a pro, so it's a paid subscription. So, and you turn off all the learning modules as well, so it stays, in-house. And then I also had to send it through to AFG as well to make sure The compliance team checked off on it. Same with social media posting and all that sort of stuff. I run everything past compliance, and then they check off on it to make sure. Same with the VAs as well. Made sure that all of the checks and balances were done from a compliance perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always curious for new brokers as well, like when you first start. So you've gone through your first 12 months now, as we sort of mentioned earlier, and looking back on your first year, like was there anything that came up that was sort of surprised you in broking?
How slow everything is.
How do you mean with that? Like in terms of how long it takes to write the loan, or how long turnaround times are, or how long the process is?
All of the above.
Okay. Everything is slow.
Yeah. How slow everything is. I think, my previous experience was in insurance broking, and, things move pretty quickly. Someone will call you up and they're like, hey, I'm at the truck dealership. I want to drive this thing off the lot. Get me insurance right now.
Yeah.
Done. 20 minutes later, you're calling them back. It's all covered. Done. They can drive away, right? So yeah, I think the speed of everything was just a whole lot slower. It's a very old industry, and so that surprised me, caught me off guard. Yeah.
Wow. So do you think that you'd be able to get a loan like written more quickly or approved more quickly?
Depends on the client situation. Yeah, it's very, that's a hard question.
Well, I guess because like I'm sort of thinking, like a lot of the time it's $1 million loan plus. So I'm kind of like, would you want that to be fast? Like it kind of is almost like if I was calling someone up and being like, I need $1 million and you got it in 20 minutes, I'd be like, that was too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please go and do some more checks. Yeah.
Yeah. I understand, from a compliance perspective, but we have the technology now. I'm confident to be able to accurately assess these things fast and fast and accurate. You know what I mean? Like, I think, it's just, it's a trust thing, right? It is spooky. It's weird. It's like 20 minutes. Oh my God. I don't want 20 minutes, but I think the process can definitely become, faster. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think many people are working on it, and I'm sure many brokers listening to this as well are like, yes, it takes too long.
Yeah.
And I think, you weren't around during the COVID blowouts, but thank goodness, because during that period when COVID first started, turnaround times went up to like 40 days.
Yeah.
And that was just for initial file touch, like before they even made a decision. So it took a very long time over COVID to get a loan done. So it's long now, but it's better than it was.
Yeah. I'm glad I wasn't there. That's for sure.
Progressively getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I want to ask about is, kind of how you do the marketing. And you mentioned earlier as well about doing meta ads and kind of paying for that. So I'm assuming like do you have like your own content specialists that help you do that? Are you using your aggregator? Do you come up with it yourself? Are you paying for it? Like, how do you actually do that kind of the marketing, the digital marketing?
Very easy to pay for it. There are a lot of people out there who do digital marketing. Lexi is really passionate about it. So she does all of our marketing and stuff like that as well. So we're really lucky that she's not only passionate about it, but really good at it as well. So we've run a whole bunch of, different meta campaigns, and, you do your Instagram and Facebook and all the, essentials. But that's pretty much it for us at the moment. But I like the face-to-face marketing, word of mouth, getting out there, going to events, talking to people. That sort of stuff goes a long way as well. I think old school marketing still wins.
Yeah.
All day.
And in this day and age as well, people are very like skeptical of online stuff and phone messaging. Like I think people do prefer now the old school kind of face-to-face marketing. You know what I think is actually interesting, just on a side here, is I've really started to see people join like social clubs again, like kind of the old version of like, a social club that you might have got back in the day. I'm seeing that research. Yeah,
so you've got all your BXs, BNIs, all that sort of stuff as well. So, I go to all those.
Private members clubs becoming a thing,
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the, the exclusive stage just yet. The brokerage isn't quite big enough.
Not yet, but maybe 12 months time, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll get into the secret circles.
Yeah.
But so it's just great. I love getting out there, connecting with other business owners, and just talking to people. That's the best marketing, word of mouth.
Do you do anything in the community like sponsorship wise?
I'm just about to start. So I've heard that joining the PNC clubs in schools is good. So I'm going to join the
People and culture. What does that stand for? Parents committee.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't know.
I'm still yet to figure it out, to be honest. But it's my son's school. I'm going to join in that and see what happens. I've heard that can be quite fruitful, as well as giving back and helping out and sponsoring the athletics carnivals or something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. So
Yeah,
looking forward to
soon.
it. Yeah.
When you think about then the kind of process for actually generating new leads, you kind of sound like, as you say, the face-to-face element is what really like makes you more successful in what you're doing. Is there anything else that you kind of done that you were like, this was the number one biggest thing we did in our business that helped us?
For generating new business?
For anything.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe let's do generating new business, but then also like to improve process.
Yeah. I think looking after people, just doing a good job. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's like doing a really, really good job. Like not just being like, oh yeah, cool, I'm just like every other broker. But if you go the extra mile for people, do the extra stuff, get stuff done, think outside the box, find custom solutions, then they will refer your business. So that's the new business. What was the other one?
So either a process improvement, but then also like in terms of the best thing that you kind of, I guess, have done, to make your day-to-day easier.
Broker Engine Plus was really good.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask this actually. So how does that differ from Broker Engine Normal?
So I don't think there is a Broker Engine Normal, not to my knowledge anyway, but it's sort of more the difference between Flex and Broker Engine Plus.
Right.
So it's their, grandfathered system. And it's amazing. It's got AI built into the system as well and has all of your templates and all that sort of stuff. So I've found that to be very efficient in terms of saving time, making things faster, all that sort of stuff.
I always think it's so funny seeing all the broker tech that was built by brokers that's become so successful. Broker Engine was built by a broker. Quickly was built by a broker.
Yeah.
Loanoptions.ai built by a broker. We've seen so many different tools and platforms coming out and being super, super, super successful because they're built by people who use them and go, there's a problem here, we want to fix it.
Yeah. And I think for somebody who's maybe a bit older in the industry going on to Broker Engine Plus, maybe like intimidating, but I would just encourage them to really spend time with the IT team. Like I book in appointments with the IT guys and I talk through stuff and I'm like, okay, cool. How do I do this? Okay, this is not working. So I think you get out what you put in to the systems, 100%.
We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about what the biggest challenges you found being a broker are, like with the industry and with lending as a whole, what the biggest opportunities are that you're seeing in market, the types of loans that you're seeing, what you're doing to have conversations with your clients at the moment, now that market's a little bit softer, and what your future plans are for the company too. And we'll get into that just after this. So looking at how you actually go from, 2, 3 people to 4 people to maybe multiple people, do you kind of have with Liz like a business plan of being like, this is where we want to be? Do you set out a vision for the company? Are you just doing it organically? Like how do you, I suppose, do the business planning?
100%. So we actually have a business coach on board as well that helps us sit down and take time to write these goals and objectives. So we want to take on 2 additional brokers by the end of the year. And as I mentioned earlier, have that office space. So being very intentional, writing it down, putting a date on it, being very specific about what you want, I think is really important.
Who is the business coach?
So that's Duncan from Champion Business Coaching. Okay. He's amazing. And I've had him on for a couple of months now. And he's been great at just creating an outside perspective and just creating that clarity for us, because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of your business, working in the business as opposed to working on the business. And it just helps pull you out of that and just go, right, what's the big picture? Where are we going? How do we drive this? How do we achieve that? How do we do this? Yeah.
For the 2 other brokers that you want to recruit, is that just to handle increasing flow? Like, is that because you've got too much business to write between you and Liz? Or is it because you want to diversify into other areas? Like, why hire another couple, like double the broker?
Yeah, it's just, I'd say volume. So being able to, I'd really like to set up young, hungry brokers who can operate on, say, heavy commissions or commission only. Obviously, if they're not commission only, it'd just be a retainer with commissions, and then just feed them leads constantly, and then just do it that way, and just set them up with the compliance, the admin, all the full wraparound support, kind of like what you would get in a franchise model. Except, just take them on board.
When you look at the other types of brokers you're doing, I think you mentioned about like doing some more asset as well.
Yes.
Is that something that you really want to lean into?
I think it's good for cash flow. I think they balance well. So if one of the biggest things that I didn't realize is from initial contact for a client and, getting paid can be like 4 to 6 months. So having those.
In resi.
In residential mortgages, right? So having those quick wins across the board for cash flow is really helpful, especially if you have, if you're dumping heaps of money into, Meta or advertising or, even the infrastructure, IT infrastructure, you're paying for brokerage and personnel, staffing costs, all that sort of stuff as well. So it's cool to just keep things ticking over, quick wins, keep you going, keep you motivated. And but I think it's a bit of both. I think 50-50 at the moment. Yeah.
And when you look at the kind of things that you've been seeing in markets, so obviously we know mortgage demand has softened quite a bit. Are you seeing that up in the in Queensland as well, on the Gold Coast?
Yes, of course. Obviously not as much as say Sydney, Melbourne, those sort of places, but it's definitely a buyer's market, and it's really exciting because I have a lot of people who are, first home buyers and that sort of stuff, and it's like, go, 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 go. Like, this is your opportunity. This is amazing. Like, before the rates go up, like, get in now, like, this is perfect. The market's just softened. The rates haven't quite skyrocketed. It's like just this perfect if rates are going to go up. Nobody knows. So I think it's a great opportunity at the moment for buyers, investors. If you can get the cash flow together to, get yourself into a deal, then deals can be done at the moment. Yeah.
I was actually talking to another broker recently, and they were saying one of the benefits of the fact that house prices are going down is that the things like the 5% deposit scheme, property price caps are feeling a bit more achievable now. Whereas before it was like, we can't buy anything for that price. Now you actually can, because the market softened a bit. So there's silver linings in all of this, even though a lot of the headlines might be focusing on people who currently have a house and are thinking, what on earth am I going to do now?
Well, it's all about education, right? So with my first home buyers, that 5% deposit scheme, I talked to them about it on the way in, and I'm like, hey guys, so just so you're aware, 5% means you only have a 5% equity stake in the property. So if the market falls by, or the value of the property falls by 10%, you're in negative equity. This program was designed for buying a house and living in it long term. It's not a short term thing.
Yeah.
Don't freak out, because a lot of the news headlines and stuff are like, oh, negative equity. Oh, it's like, if you can maintain stable employment and, manage your expenses well, life goes on as normal. Especially a lot of my first home buyers I put on fixed rates as well to circumvent that issue as well in the first couple of years, which I find really beneficial. They have the consistent repayment over those few years, especially at the moment, with everything happening. So say 6 months ago, I was talking to them about, fixed rates and things, and that's been great for them. They're smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fix, split. It's hard to keep track, isn't it? To know what to do with the rates moving all the time.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to ask you about is Help to Buy, which obviously only launched, 6 months ago, but it's been around for the last 6 months, and we've recently had some new lenders join it. Only at the moment, Bank Australia offering through the broker channel, although Teachers Mutual Bank, which came on this week, said they would be opening up to the broker channel in October. Have you seen much demand for Help to Buy?
Nope.
No.
I haven't used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because it's a smaller criteria, or do you think it's just there are other alternative products out there that are better?
Yeah, it just doesn't fit the clients' needs, goals and objectives for the conversations that I'm having specifically. Yeah.
How so?
So having how do I explain it? It's like the options, the other options available and the combinations, because you can combine them, right? So the combinations that are available for the other areas are more beneficial. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Present the options, and the clients will gravitate more towards, these and that, and say that, they don't want government having, having the shared equity. Yeah, 100%. It's a big killer for a lot of first home buyers. They're like, oh, so if my property goes up by X amount of money, then I'm going to have to, and it's like, so I should pay them out as soon as possible. Well, kind of, yeah, So it's you walk them through it, and then they just, I let my clients decide on sort of what they think is going to be the best option for them. And 10 times out of 10 so far, they have avoided it. So stayed away from it.
But do they like the 5% deposit scheme?
Yes. Yeah. It's been really popular, and it's being demonized in the media at the moment, and I don't know why.
Has it?
Yeah. They're like, oh my God, negative equity.
Negative equity,
they're trying to freak everyone out. And I'm like, doesn't really matter. Like if you bought a house not on the 5%, like with maybe like a 10%, and your property drops 20%, you're in the it's
unless you're selling your house.
And that comes down to investment philosophy as well. So my investment philosophy is really long term, and never sell and all that sort of stuff as well. So I don't think it's an issue. It's a non-issue for me. Yeah, personally.
I'm always curious as well, talking to brokers that came from out of industry like you did. When you come into industry, obviously you don't really have any kind of, I assume at least, any preconceptions or ideas of what it's going to be like. Has there been anything that you found completely bizarre in the broking industry apart from the timing?
No, not completely. It's, as I said before, it is so refreshing. Everyone has been so lovely at all the events, and even working with other competing businesses. They're like, hey, keen to help you, keen to provide advice and help you, and the whole industry as a whole. Not necessarily bizarre, but really surprising how lovely everyone is.
They are lovely. It's such a nice industry. And I'm always so,
and collaborative.
Pleased, that so many people are also willing to come on the podcast and share their stories, but also super open to being like, hey, if you need anything, like, please feel free to reach out to me. Like, I think it's such a lovely, warm industry.
100%. Like, even other brokers are like, oh, it's really lonely sometimes being, a business operator. If you ever want to just go for coffee or whatever, let me know and stuff. And I'm like, it's incredible. It's lovely.
It is really nice.
I love it.
Are there any challenges then, like when you look at the broking industry, that you kind of wish could be improved? Like if you were king of the broking industry for a day, what would you change? Yeah,
I think accreditations is a big one. As we spoke about it earlier, the accreditations process is I think it's just inefficient as a whole. And I think that could be sped up or uniform, like formalized, uniformed, create a process where you don't have to resubmit forms 1,000 times. I'm not quite sure.
To the same lender or to your aggregator?
Yeah, just different forms. So each, obviously, lender has their own accreditation form, whereas if you did one universal form that captured all of the data across all of the lenders and just did one big
like
form.
Like a one form.
Yeah, one form, exactly. Yeah, like rentals and stuff like that. So that would be really good as well. And then just obviously the turnaround times on that is pretty slow as well. So faster.
Make everything faster. It's too slow. Accreditations are too slow. Turnarounds are too slow. So that's the biggest thing you'd like to change. What do you think is the best thing in broking at the moment? Like what, in terms of opportunity for you, like what are you seeing that you're really excited about?
I think that technology is going to make everything faster. I think it's going to supercharge everything and create efficiencies and make everything more streamlined. But in saying that, that's why I am so focused on that person-to-person relationship, because AI is becoming so advanced and is going to become so advanced that the importance of having that relationship person-to-person is just going to go up. So focusing more on that is really important for us. But I think it's just AI, technology, all that sort of stuff is just going to supercharge the industry. It's going to make it a whole bunch more fun. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier as well about, it can be lonely as a business owner if you're working on your own. And many people in broking are sole traders and sole practitioners who might have some support staff, but maybe you're not in their office with them. You're lucky that you've got Lexi and Liz around you day to day. But what do you do, like, if you've got a particularly tough day? Like, how do you unwind and de-stress from that day?
Again, how do I unwind and de-stress? Fishing, hiking, adventuring. I love it. Being on the Gold Coast is the best. Yeah. So if you can't find me in the office, I'll be on Stradbroke Island most likely.
Okay. Yeah. What are you fishing?
Tuna. Everything. So if the weather's good, we'll go offshore, catch pelagics like tuna and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's a bit more, if it's windy and the swell's up, then we'll just stay in the broad water. And then in summer and things, go chase bass out in the fresh, out in the country. So it's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you kind of would recommend people to do? I mean, you mentioned about having a business coach already and having a team around you. Like if someone else is kind of feeling a little bit like down in the dumps, like is there anything that you do that helps you feel more rejuvenated about the industry?
Yeah. I'm an extrovert, so I get charged up by events. So me going to some sort of networking event or going for coffee with somebody is really beneficial. I think the FBAA mentor program, I'm also a part of that as well. If you want a good mentor, I'd really encourage people. I use a guy by the name of Phil Dempsey. He's amazing. He has over 40 years experience. If I get something really curly and Liz is busy, I can just call Phil and he can workshop some really complex scenarios for me as well. So, if you're feeling, stuck or sort of down in the dumps, getting somebody with experience around you is really important. Also, so you don't make a mess of it or make a mistake. You know what I mean? You want to provide good advice to your clients, right? And then, going to events, there's heaps. You got MFAA, FBAA, they both have heaps of events around, coffee catch-ups, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's where we met. Yeah, so
the advisor has our own events.
Yeah. So join stuff, get out there, get active in the community, meet people. Everyone's really lovely. Yeah, don't sit at home, or in your office, wherever you are, just struggling because it's not worth it. Yeah.
And if you were going to start your broking career all over again, let's say we re-round back to April 2025, what would you have done differently?
I wouldn't have paid for leads.
Okay.
Paid leads are a huge, sorry to all the paid lead organizations out there. Paid leads, I did not find to be very fruitful and the ROI was not on there. Build your own funnels, do your own stuff. That's probably the biggest, spent a lot of money on paid leads because they're quite expensive, right? You buy a batch, $3-4 grand. At a minimum, and then you may not see the ROI on it depending on the company.
And any advice for new brokers just starting out?
I think it's going to take longer than you think. So that 2-year window, I wouldn't encourage people to do what I've done and jumping straight in, unless the only caveat to that is if you already have, say, at least 5 years of broking experience in the industry, and you know people and you're connected and you sort of, how it all works and that sort of stuff. I think if anybody's looking to, completely transition from another industry, because I'm sure there's people out there, maybe start with an organization first, or like a franchise model where you have a lot of the support and they can potentially feed you the leads and all that sort of stuff, and you have a bit more structure around you. I think that's probably going to be more beneficial. So I'm crazy. Don't do what I did.
You know what's funny? I always ask this question at the end of the podcast, and so many people are kind of like, I wish I'd known, that there's more support available. I mean, obviously, again, you've got a partner, so you're pretty lucky already. But a lot of people going, I wish I hadn't done it on my own. And then other people being like, you know what, I actually kind of think if I hadn't done it on my own, that I wouldn't have learned as quickly. So
it's a steep learning curve. Yeah. It is a steep learning curve. Yeah. And just having that guidance and a sounding board, I think, is beneficial. I think it would be even harder again to start it by yourself. So I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, James, for sharing your story here on New Broke, and best of luck for FY27, your big plans at Coastal Financial Consultants. Appreciate you coming down and sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for having me.
If you've got any questions for me or for James, and do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au and James Allen at Coastal Financial Consultants. Obviously, you'd be happy to hear from people, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Do feel free to reach out. And of course, do take a listen back to previous episodes on New Broker, Elite Broker, plus all the things we've been writing about and talking about on The Advisor in what's making headlines and in focus. And if you are interested in any of our events coming up, the Australian Broking Awards are taking place on the 28th of August, which is our national awards ceremony. It's a daytime event. It's super fun. We kind of call it the Oscars of the broking industry because it's really everyone who comes together. It's a great load of fun here in Sydney on the 28th of August. And of course, we've got professional development days and training days coming up. We've got webcasts. There's one coming up in August with Mortgage Choice. If you're a new broker, do tune into that, talking to brokers at different stages of their journey about how they built their broking businesses. And of course, all of the other events and and awards coming up this year, including the Women of Finance Summit, Finance 360, Women of Finance Awards and Commercial Finance Awards. There's a lot to get into, loads of fun things to do. So we hope to see you there. If you have anything else that you'd like us to be talking about or finding out about, if you've got any questions for our guests on the podcast as well, do feel free to reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to get your questions answered. And we hope you have a fab week. We'll catch you next time for another episode on the Advisor Podcast Network.